speed gear.
Have his hand full, and he certainly did.
And that was a brave lunge down the inside by Michael, because I really didn't think he was close enough. Here's the braking zone. Goes down the inside and hopes that Mansell gives him room, which he does. But that was a brave move by Michael. We're now on board with Nigel. He goes to turn, sees him, gives him enough room, shakes his head. But Michael, boy, he forced the issue there.
You've got to have a lot of confidence in Nigel Mansell to give you the room on something like that. Like a good sportsman, he in fact does. Unser Jr. still the leader now by 10 seconds. He begins to pull out a bit on that car, Robbie Gordon. But Gordon is in a fight.
Gordon is in a fight, but he is not that far ahead of Michael. Look at this train of cars here. Now Mario could have an influence here on who he paves the way for if he moves over.
Yellow flag at this point. They can't pass here, but keep an eye on that battle between Michael Andretti and Paul Tracy. Things are heating up. We'll be back for the finish. Well, we've had several changes in the past few seconds. Teo Fabi takes a spin, but perhaps more important, we had Paul Tracy and Michael Andretti get together. We're going to go full course yellow. 95 laps are complete, 7 laps to the conclusion of this race. Here is what originally happened with Paul Tracy and Michael Andretti.
Tracy had a look down the inside of Mario, realized he couldn't make it, but Michael was coming on a charge and just couldn't stop. Drop kicked Tracy, and then he hit him a big whack as he drove by, but Michael seemed to have escaped. He's still in third, but Nigel Mansell did get caught up in that melee, and he has moved all the way back to 7th, which means Gugelmin and Goodyear are now 5th and 6th.
Paul Tracy, as you just saw, did not escape. He had damage to the left front of the car. So we're under full course yellow. Al Unser Jr. is the leader of the race. The pace car has picked him up. They're going to try to get Teo Fabi out of that precarious position. He runs in 19th place. Here's the setup.
Tracy has a look down the inside of Mario, realizes he can't make it. Michael's already locked up. Look at this. Nowhere to go. Whacks him. But that's not the finish. Watch what happens here. Rear wheels. Bang over the top of Tracy's rear wheel. And Michael again escapes. Here it is from on board Michael. Absolutely not intentional, just too many cars going from the same piece of road. Look at this. Bang. Boy, that Reynard is strong.
That was a pretty good hit that he took from Nigel Mansell.
Now here's the traffic jam that Mansell gets caught up in. Mansell has to stop, and Gugelmin and Goodyear pass him while he stops.
There's Paul Tracy out of the car. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
We had the opportunity to check with Mike Hall, team manager for Michael Andretti. They say the car is fine, but their big concern right now, the 2-car, Emerson Fittipaldi, passed them, they feel, under yellow once he got going. They're trying to work with the and get that corrected. But for Michael Andretti, the car seems to be okay.
Well, shades of Mid-Ohio. Very close call. The car is stopped. Can they go past? He was waiting in a precarious position.
We actually saw that. Here it is here. Now, this is Fabi's incident. Whoa, got a little love tap, I believe, from Bobby. He did indeed. Didn't manage to keep it running, but it was exiting here that Michael was very slow. Here it is here. Michael turns around, sees Fabi. Now, Michael was very slow exiting here, and that was where Emerson made the move and made the pass.
So, what does that do to the running order with 97 laps complete and 102 laps the distance? Al Unser Jr. leads it, but right behind him now is Robbie Gordon, 2nd place. Fittipaldi 3rd, then Michael, then Mauricio Gugelmin. In 6th place is Scott Goodyear, then Mansell, then Ray Hall, then Lyondike, and Mark Smith. Here's Gary Gerald.
Paul, I don't know if I've ever seen as much emotion from you getting out of a car. This has to be perhaps as bitter a disappointment as you've had in IndyCar racing.
Well, it really is. This is the 2nd Molson Indy, 2nd race in Canada. Michael's taken me out of the race. He ran straight into the back of me. You know, he's been running into the back of everybody all year long, whether it's practice or qualifying or the race. The guy's got a serious problem.
So what do you do in this instance? Will you try to talk to him at some point?
You can't talk to the guy. You know, he's out there, he bulldozes everybody off the track, and, you know, there's nothing you can do about it.
And it has to be so frustrating because you had the early spin, you battled from back around 15th or 16th to get into contention.
Well, it really was. We were running good at the start, and everything was looking good. And then, you know, we had problems with our seat belts all race. I drove 3/4 of the race with no seat belts, and then I got them fixed on a full course yellow and got them back together. And you know, it's just a bad day.
It's a bad day indeed, and keep in mind, here's a man who still hasn't decided or hasn't announced what his intentions are going to be next year, because he's waiting for Roger Penske's decision. Will it be a 2-car team or a 3-car team in 1995? And everybody wants Paul Tracy if Penske doesn't have him next year, Paul.
Green flag comes back out. It's a sprint to the finish. Remember, Paul Tracy, most often named, and has in fact admitted that he is talking with Carl Haas should Roger Penske let him go. Jan Beekes.
Well, we have an update from Derek Walker. He told us a few laps ago that Robbie had gear selection problems. But he says, don't say anything on the air because I know Penske listens to ESPN and we don't want Al Jr. to know. But now we know through radio communications that Penske has told Al Jr. that he does know that Robbie has problems. It looks like Penske's been listening in on Derek Walker.
We're keeping the eye on Robbie Gordon.
Michael gets her sideways under acceleration. Precious few laps to go, but how the face of a race changes, Paul, with small mistakes. Think if Gordon had not gone down that escape road, how in a more challenging position he may be in right now. But look at Junior draw away in 1 lap.
There's the order. Al Unser Jr. pulling out on Robbie Gordon, struggling with his car now. There's 3rd place, Michael Andretti.
He forced his way past Emerson down this straight here and under braking, so he has the position back. He goes really wide.
And everybody bottles up there, but Michael maintains a position still. Good closure by Fittipaldi. Michael could be in trouble now. Mario Andretti, the 6th car, not on the leader lap, not part of this fight. Neither is the 14 car of Cheever, with Mansell right behind him.
Mansell trying to pass Scott Goodyear. Did he get by?
Got past him.
Did he get by? He did. What a time loss it was for Mansell right here at turn 10 in that Michael and Paul Tracy. That was an interesting.
Gary Gerald, an update on Junior.
Paul, and I don't know if it was lost in the shuffle and the confusion while we were scrambling to get to Tracy, but we've just confirmed now with the Penske team that as far as Al Unser Jr. is concerned, that full course yellow cemented any concerns they had on fuel. They're fine now. They don't think they'll have any problem with the checkered flag, and who would have thunk it that this guy's going to win another one.
Al Unser Jr. has completed his 100th lap. Under 2 to go now. 2 seconds ahead of Robbie Gordon with an ailing car. It's going to be all Robbie Gordon can do to keep Michael Andretti from taking 2nd away from him. Boy, look at the lead that he pulls out. He can sense that victory.
The doctors filled him full of bodily fluids just to try and get him ready for this race, and it's obviously worked.
The interval remains the same. Just over 2 seconds between 1st and 2nd. Robbie Gordon runs alone now. Al Unser Jr. about to make it 8 victories in the season, matching Michael Andretti from 1991. But if he does it, he will only have taken 11 races to Michael Andretti's 13. Still not a championship, but so very close. He could wrap it up in our coverage here on ESPN next week at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Al Jr., who won here last year and won the inaugural event here back in 1990. So he knows what it's all about, but that's how close Robbie Gordon has come to winning an IndyCar race. He's what, 2.5 or 3 seconds behind.
Only 2 names have ever appeared in the winner's point here in Vancouver. Al Unser Jr. has done it again. The other name would have been Michael. Robbie Gordon finishes in 2nd. And Nigel Mansell gets together with Fittipaldi, and that's going to devastate a 4th and 5th place finish and bring Scott Goodyear forward into 4th, Guzman forward into 5th. On the very last lap, these 2 are together.
They're trying to get at each other by the looks of things here.
2 former world champions. Teo Fabi creeps past. Emo pitches his wheel all the way across the track. Nigel walks away, angry, frustrated, furious.
Took advantage of other people's problems early in the race, and now suddenly has more than his own fair share, but they are disgusted and blaming each other for this incident. Here it is here. This is braking for turn 10. Long way behind is Mansell. Oh, Emerson tries to block him. Oh, ho, ho. Emerson turned in early to try and block Mansell. Mansell was already committed and had nowhere to go and smacks the inside concrete and Emerson at the same time.
And Mansell had a right to be angry about it. Fittipaldi now walking behind him, trying to catch up. When we come back, there's going to be quite a bit to sort out here. But one thing is sure, Al Unser has... ESPN's coverage of the Indy cars in Vancouver has been brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by PPG, world leaders in automotive finishes. Well, the Molson Indy Vancouver is over, and what a race it was. They'll talk about this one for a while. Al Unser Jr. has scored his 27th career win. Here's Gary Gerould.
In this most improbable season, Al Unser Jr., did you at any way think on Friday when you were sick in that hospital or in the hotel room that you couldn't get on the race car, that you might be on the victory podium winning your 8th race this year?
Boy, there was no way. You know, we were behind the 8 ball all week long, but the Marlboro Team Penske is a great racing team, and you know, we missed out Friday, and Paul went out and ran a couple of my sets of tires in, and ran the car to make sure it was okay. And so I want to really thank all my teammates for helping me out this weekend, and the whole team. They did a great job, and Roger himself, he called this race perfect, and so I'm sure glad I'm with him.
He's hurting, but he's happy.
Chris? Well, here's the order of finish. Big changes there at the bottom of the top 5 with that confrontation between Emerson Fittipaldi and Nigel Mansell, and that'll play into the championship point battle as we look through the entire order of finish here at the Molson Indy Vancouver. Mauricio Gugelmin, he scored his best career finish, so congratulations to him. A lot of action on the circuit here in Vancouver today. Michael Andretti came home in 3rd place after battling with almost everyone.
Well, Michael, you end up here having won a couple of times previously. You come back, you're on the podium, but some controversy. Paul Tracy had some harsh words after you got into him and made contact late in the race. What happened from your seat?
Well, he has every right to be mad, you know. It's just, but it was not done on purpose. I was having real problems with my rear brakes. In fact, I even hit my dad the same way, and it was just a problem there, you know, where I was locking the rears and I had no control, and I didn't even try to pass him at that point. So, you know, I'm very sorry to him, but you know, what can I do? It's racing.
Robbie Gordon, a tough day for you. Tell us about the incident where you came through pit lane and then contact with Fernandez.
You know, it was basically my fault by getting that flat tire. You know, I came into the last corner there a little too hot and locked up the inside front. So instead of just smoking the tire and maybe popping it, I decided to come down pit lane. I didn't think it would hurt me that bad, but it put me back in the position with Adrian. You know, this is the last two races, Adrian's been the cause of our problems. But, you know, it's really my fault. But I got to give credit to Derek Walker and the whole Valvoline crew, because they made the right calls and making the right decisions to get me back up to give Alan a challenge at the end.
Well, we certainly enjoyed watching you come up through the field. Thank you. Paul?
Robbie Gordon with a 2nd place finish. Now, look what it does to the points. That confrontation at the end gave Michael Andretti a boost that he needed. He stays in 3rd in the points fight now. So the battle does continue on, but still there is that matter at the end of the race.
Emerson, tell us about the business in the last lap now with Nigel Mansell.
Well, I was coming to the last corner. I saw Nigel in the mirror. I said, there's no way. I closed the door. I said, there's no way he's going to pass me. And Nigel just never back off. He tried to use my car, my brakes, to stop him. And, you know, my car is not a ghost. It's a solid piece of metal that was on the track. And between my car and the wall, there was not enough gap for him to go through. And he just made a big judgment mistake, and I'm very disappointed because Nigel is a champion. He should never do that. He don't need to do that to win race or to gain any position.
What was the exchange between you and Nigel as you both got out of the cockpits?
No, I just was very mad with Nigel. Nigel said that he was committed.